As it currently stands, Last Epoch has mixed reviews on Steam. There's some people that are very upset about
Let's see if it's mixed reviews right now or not. Ooh. There it is. Mixed reviews. Recent reviews are mixed. There we go. This is, in fact, a true.
Pretty rough launch, if we're being honest. And then there are people that believe it is a good ARPG driven from an indie company with good practices towards the consumer. So
Yes.
you end up with mixed reviews depending upon which side of the spectrum you end up falling on. Well, Last Epoch themselves, in fact, notably here, Judd Cobbler, the founder and game director, actually posted this only 40 minutes ago on Twitter. And this is a breakdown and response upon the current situation with Last Epoch. They opened by mentioning Last Epoch had 265,000 players online at one time. So this is your...
I think this was a massive blowout success. I feel like Diablo 4 did more for the ARPG industry and the ARPG genre by allowing other games to get into the genre so they could learn about games that were better than Diablo 4. I think it's great. It got so many people into PoE and to Last Epoch.
Concurrent
maybe one day even Diablo 4 will be good.
Which was number 39 highest concurrent user count recorded on Steam.
That's a lot. That's
ever.
Nuts. Think about how big that is.
They continue to say basically that they're sorry about the server loads and thank you for bearing with them. And they're holding steady now above 200,000 players and have made improvements each day to support the demand. They're going to continue to address any issues that
think about how many people that is. Like 265,000 concurrent, right? So let's assume that's twice as many people that actually bought the game because half of them probably aren't playing. So you'd look at 500,000 people that have bought the game. So if the game sold for $35 and you take that and multiply that by 500,000, that is $70 million. Think about that. Or sorry, not 70 million. That would be, like $17.5 million. That's insane. I doubled it instead of cutting it in half. Bad math. Yeah, that's nuts. Don't forget Steam Cut. That's 30%. I mean, that's still insane. That's like you're still coming back with $10 million. 11 million.
Up, and then they start to break down about what is incoming. Now, I can confirm I've been playing Last Epoch, obviously, every single day on the live stream, and we will be again today if you want. That's in the description. But as of yesterday, the connection does seem to finally be improved while still under significant server load.
It's good. I played it. It's good.
A bit of what I had heard, and I think they're going to get into this here, but a bit of what I had heard about this wasn't so much a server-related issue as there was a software issue that did not arise until the mass flow of people come up that they weren't aware of. So I know a lot of people are saying, well, just buy more servers. I guess they had the servers. There was an API problem or something. I'm not a dev. I couldn't tell you. I'm sure there was
a problem with the shit and it didn't work. Yeah.
Plenty of devs in the YouTube comments down below that will talk about what's going on that might know.
There was some sort of bottleneck.
So they do mention there's an incoming hotfix in post 1.0 patch. This is actually going to be bug fixing and quality of life patch. This is important in my opinion. There are significant bugs in the moment that at least annoy me. If I'll speak for myself personally, I'm playing a hammered in paladin. I'm throwing a bunch of hammers that spiral around me. And very often these hammers hit literally nothing in the air and just disappear. There's one boss that I had to try 5 times because if
they do that.
Fight them anywhere in the top half of the arena, you literally can't damage him with hammers. So I had to fight them in the bottom half of the arena, which half the time is covered with AoE damage. So I'm looking forward to these bug fixes.
Jesus.
This next paragraph is here, basically them responding again to the server issues. They said they're holding solid above
my shit was fine.
200K mark. They're improving their loading times. There was a big complaint, and it was a very valid complaint about loading times taking forever in transitioning from zone to zone. And I'm not just talking about connection issues, but the actual time it takes to load. They're working on this improvement as well. They're working on continuing to improve things like the social systems, scene-to-scene transition time, in-game chat is more stable.
I felt like, personally, whenever I was playing the game, especially whenever I was farming monoliths, I was going through loading screens as quickly as I would whenever I was playing Starfield. Because I would do a loading screen to and from the monolith, and each monolith took 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So I was spending a tremendous amount of time in loading screens. I don't know how they can fix that problem, because I think that people like how monoliths are very short, but at the same time, I wish that they had more longer form objectives too, beyond just filling the bar. I don't know how they can solve that. Maybe they can do with what PoE does, with having different objectives and things like that, but that's just my opinion.
people, etc. This is just sort of more, hey, we're working on fixing things and making sure it's more stable. The next portion is them talking about they're going to be working on translations, typos, etc. And they're continuing to work on UI error fixes, etc. Now, this is the real important part here because we all know server issues can't last forever. They're going to fix them. Obviously, they're going to do bug fixes and they're going to focus on making the game playable. Like, that's the obvious part. This part here is the future content. Now, I had them on my podcast where they announced the dev here
people playing the game.
They were going to be releasing Pinnacle boss content. We're going to talk about this here in a second because they say for 1.1 they're bringing out some Pinnacle content, which is some of the complaints that currently I'm seeing about the game's in-game state is there's no like extreme boss Pinnacle challenge, you know, like Lilith and Diablo, like the Ubers and PoE, for instance. And there's some, you know, the more hardcore ARPG players want to have these sort of chase goals outside of just...
I think chase goals are incredibly important, and I think that games need to have chase goals because if they don't have chase goals, it doesn't provide a frame of reference for what people can aspire to do. I'm very much a fan of having chase goals in games and different things that you can do that will make it to where it's like, you know, you want to kill Shaper, you want to kill Uber Elder, you want to kill Sirius, you want to kill Maven, you want to kill Searing Exarch, right? There are like bosses that you can look forward to doing.
Grinding your power and your corruption that are incremental. You want these one big, here I go, 1v1 versus the boss type of moment. So here's future content plans. Excited to share the cycle plans we have in the next major cycle patch 1.1. So that's coming this 1.1 patch here. The content coming for 1.1 is designed specifically in two parts. The first is focusing on and committing time to act on players' feedback. We are wholly committed to making it the best ARPG in the genre, and listening to our amazing community is a big part of that.
And I want to say that it will probably take them years to make this game as good as PoE. In terms of like content scale and depth and like the content offering, and I think that's totally fine. PoE has been developed for years and years and years. Of course it's not going to be there on day one. Of course not.
In addition, throughout the 1.0 cycle, we intend to release quality of life and bug fixes patches regularly. So they're saying new content's coming, but we're still going to be doing bug fixes, etc. first. Secondly, as you all may know, we're going to have a heavy emphasis on expanding in-game content now that we've released 1.0. In my opinion, this right here is the correct move.
And again, comparing to PoE, I think the last Epoch storyline and quest line for campaign is infinitely better than PoE's campaign was for years. Like now I think the PoE campaign's pretty good, but for years, I mean, come on, it wasn't really that good.
I said I thought the game was quite good, but I think that the in-game could have some improvements. I'm not hating on it. It's just how I feel about the game, honestly.
Yes.
I still feel this way. So they say for future patches, we have plans to expand the monolith, bring great new itemization options, add more boss content, class and balance updates, campaign content, etc. For 1.1, we'll specifically be focusing on bringing some pinnacle content or very hard fights that will give you challenges to aspire to. We'll be sharing more on this and what's to come in 1.0 in the not distant future.
Great.
So here we are, less than a week basically into the launch of this game, and we have announcements talking about campaign content, boss content, class and balance updates, new itemization, expanding the in-game monolith system. So we have a significant amount of announcements here coming into the in-game. It's worth emphasizing that EHG has a strong focus to listening onto the community. It's where our team came from. We want to hear from you to see in the future. They mentioned this also. I asked them about this in my podcast. They started as a Kickstarter, which originally started as a Reddit post. So
this game came from Reddit?
Started from the forums, and they're listening to where they started from is sort of what they're saying basically here with this last paragraph. So now we get to the part where they're kind of responding to the reviews and the sentiment and sort of the launch, you know, clusterfuck that really basically happened here. So they say they're continuing to receive high praise about the game itself. Steam reviews and sentiment, however, took a heavy hit due to the initial turbulence of online launch. This is fair.
It's absolutely fair, and it's actually so crazy to me how good Steam is. Because if you look at Last Epoch and you go to the community hub and you look at reviews, they contextualize the reviews from the most recent and the helpful ones of the week. So the negative reviews are still there, but they're also contextualized around the most recent reviews. They have such a good system for Because like a lot of games have bad launches, and like that's just not that it's okay for a game to have a bad launch, but I mean really it's pretty understandable, especially because like this game like had such a massive breakout success that I don't think they predicted. Same thing happened with, for example, Helldivers, that yeah, of course that's what's going to happen. They're just not ready for it.
Now,
it's
the
understandable.
First day didn't really care that much.
It's disappointing, and everybody's entitled to be disappointed and leave a review that they're disappointed. And I think that's totally legitimate, but it is just as legitimate to say that, hey, it is what it is.
Like, it's the first day, the second day, and the third day, and the fourth day is when it started to get a little bit more annoying, and those reviews were becoming more and more fair. People that complained within the first couple hours was harder to take their review seriously, but the people that complained after a few days, those are some very real reviews that you can't tell people that can't connect to a game with their friends after days of it being down on an online game, even though offline mode's available. It's true. I played offline mode also during this time.
Most people don't want to play offline. Most people. What the fuck do I know about most people? I think a lot of people don't want to play offline mode because they might want to play with their friends in the future. Sure. I mean, it makes sense. And also, like, it's a weird thing, right? Where it's like, I never play with anybody in ARPGs, but I don't want to play offline mode because then I can't. It's one thing to not be able to, and, like, usually not do it. And it's another thing to not be able to do it.
Really tell them that their reviews
you feel like you're missing out. Yeah.
Reviews. So people that left negative reviews have every right to do so.
Like live versus VOD.
Because the servers were in fact down. But now what they have to do is they have to commit to regaining that trust by making improvements to our backend infrastructure for this amount of load and providing a great experience for online play. Basically,
I'm going to be honest. This is a perfect response to the problem. This is totally fucking. This is exactly what I'd want to hear. This is good. Yeah.
They are saying that we got bad reviews, we took a hit, but we're going to have to pull a no man's sky here and prove that we can make a good game, continue to get the connection better and better. It's fine nowadays, but this is 6 days after the launch here.
Yeah.
And try to earn back some of those people that left because they couldn't play the game or left a negative review and make them willing to change it to a positive review. They're going to have to earn that sentiment back.
Yep.
So they say they take time to read the reviews and feedback on Steam, socials, and forums, and they take swift action to improve the areas that players are dissatisfied with. They know that seeing our Steam reviews lower than ever has been concerning to players who were looking forward to the future of last Epoch. Yeah, part of this...
I really wish that people were so fucking sheepish. Oh my god. Just because there are bad reviews of the game doesn't mean, oh my god, the game has a bad review. Am I wrong for what my opinion is? Am I consuming the wrong type of video game content? Oh my god. Jesus Christ, guys, come on. What are y'all doing?
For me is I'll be honest, I have a split thing about this. I was bummed out to see the negative reviews, even though you can't really blame people for leaving negative reviews.
Exactly.
I was hoping that a game with a $35 price tag built off of the back of a Kickstarter from a Reddit post that's an indie game company in the ARPG genre would be able to sort of prove that you can make a great game with a great launch at a fair price tag with no having to purchase microtransactions or anything like that. Yes, there's cosmetics in the game, but to be honest, they look terrible. And the in-game cosmetics of the actual armor, in my opinion, look even better.
Yeah, I never have seen them.
I was hoping that this game could sort of be a win for proving the concept that you don't have to be like a extremely greedy AAA game. Unfortunately,
how many other games have proved that concept too? I feel like it's just a fact nowadays. Like, yeah, you don't have to be a greedy fuck to make a good game. Yeah, no, he's totally right.
Did have a bad launch. And so this knocking out of the park home run is not going to happen. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. It's a great game, and I think most people who have played the game a significant amount of times would tell you it is a good game, but you only get one chance to make a first impression.
True.
And basically the launch of the game was a little bit of a disaster in terms of connections, so they're going to have to re-earn that sentiment, I think is...
And they will. They will. It'll just take time. Like, if they're committed to doing it, every game that truly commits to re-earning community trust succeeds. No Man's Sky. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think for the people that love Retail WoW has re-earned people's trust in a big way. I think the classic WoW team has also done that. Cyberpunk 2077. Final Fantasy 14. There it is. I don't know, do we have one more? Diablo 4? Well, Diablo 4 did earn back. To be fair, how many of you guys, like, whenever you played Season 2 of Diablo 4, you were like, okay, let's see where this is going. Oh, the new season, you get a bug. No? Okay, maybe it was just me. No, I was actually pretty optimistic after Season 2. Maybe I'm stupid. Yeah, I was optimistic after it.
Of it. Now, there's some of this which is, okay, these are just people complaining in Discord. These are people complaining in Reddit. Yeah, but it's a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
And those people's opinions do matter. They matter when you look at Steam reviews. And those Steam reviews are now mixed. And people who maybe don't know anything about the game, maybe they're not going to watch YouTube videos, maybe they're not going to go read forum posts.
Why would
they're
they?
just going to look at reviews on Steam.
Can't expect it.
I myself, if I see a Steam game that has mixed reviews, am much less likely to purchase the game than if it says overwhelmingly positive. For instance, I don't know about you. I'm just speaking for myself. Steam reviews do actually matter when it comes to influencing this game. So I think they're kind of addressing that, and they're saying that for those players who are concerned, like, well, you guys took a big hit here. Like, is this going to affect the game? They're saying no. Yeah, we want to assure you that the team has been committed to making a game you can enjoy and expect updates for years to come. We've seen the passion reflected back at us in the community this past week, and has bolstered our resolve to that goal even further. Last Epoch is here to stay. So that's sort of how they respond to this situation, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, a bad launch doesn't define a game. There are a lot of games that have bad launches. In fact, I will go as far to say as that I think most games have bad launches. Do you know what game didn't have a bad launch? Shadowlands.
They're doing their best.
Somebody says Elden Ring. Actually, not completely correct. Elden Ring had a number of slowdown and optimization issues that people would run into, and the problem was that they ran into them so early in the game, like Tree Sentinel fight. There were a lot of like slowdown and optimization issues. So in fact, the Elden Ring release was actually kind of problematic. And I believe also the Dark Souls remastered that came out in 2016, I think, was also problematic on release as well.
To get everything up and running. It should be up and running now with 200,000 plus players. There should be no issues. They fixed whatever issue was going on in the back end. Again, I think it was some kind of software issues. What I had heard, it wasn't necessarily the servers. There's some kind of API or something. Again, I'm not a dev. I don't know. I'm just through the grapevine. So
it ain't working.
And so they fixed whatever unforeseen issue that there had been, and now it's supposed to be good. They've added gamepad support, I guess, if you care about that. But there was already controller support, etc. So this is sort of their response to this. These reviews are not going to affect the future of the game. They've announced the in-game content of expanding monoliths, new itemization, pinnacle bosses, more campaign content, etc. And they're announcing this only 6 days after the release of the game. So that is encouraging to see the content coming, but also the reviews that are from people that weren't able to actually play the game online are fair. Can't argue against them, unfortunately. And then it's just...
They are completely fair. I think that every game company should be held accountable for a bad release, but I don't think that... I think that a prudent and intelligent investor, sorry, not investor, but customer, will see what the problem is, and that games can overcome a bad reputation from a bad launch. I don't think it's really even a big deal. And keep in mind how many PoE launches were like literal dog shit. Like, I'm talking about, like, absolute, like, fucking, like 2 days, 3 days. It's fucked up. Was it Ultimatum? Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, every single one is, like, coincides with, like, a lot of PoE drama. The streamer queue, yeah, I remember the streamer queue one was a big one. Ultimatum. Yeah, it was the rollback. Oh, the rollback because of Empyrean sitting outside the circle in a fucking Delirium Ultimatum tier 6, like dropping 15 headhunters in like one map. Yeah, I remember that.
A little bit of a bummer that it wasn't a home run, like I think a lot of people were hoping for. But they have a response. That's their response. You're welcome to leave your comments on how you feel down below. I read my YouTube comments as well. So this one's kind of melancholy for me. I had wished this had been an overwhelmingly amazing launch, just because of the landscape of gaming in the moment. You get games like Helldiver that are great games, you know, and I kind of like to see a win for the non-AAAs when they happen.
I think that a lot of people like seeing that.
Anyway, that's their response. I'll see you on the guys on the live stream as I'm going live now. All right.
There it is. I'm going to be totally honest.
2023 Guild Wars.
I think that they have, like, Last Epoch has the best response to this. Because, like, so if you compare the response, so this is the response you have to compare it to, right? Compare it to the response of the day before. Their response to the game falling apart and being bad on release was literally shit happens. Just shit happens. Guys. I mean, shit happened. Guys, look, you know how, I mean, look, shit happened. That's what it is. They're keeping Discord posted, though? Yeah, they were. And so, yeah, the people overlook because you can't play the other game whenever you have the issue. Last Epoch was playable offline since day one. Really good point that Last Epoch did have an offline mode, so it was totally okay even then.
Online launch.
But yes, fair. I think that games like Last Epoch and also Helldivers 2, what more they prove besides just being a good game, they prove as a good foundation and rubric for how to make a game and how to design a game and how to run a game. That's really what it does. The game is a reasonable price. It does what it's supposed to do. It doesn't have a lot of bullshit in it. There's an offline mode in the game. There's no pay to win. There's nothing like that. At least I don't have to load everyone's stash tab in Last Epoch. Yeah, if somebody had to load my stash tab, their game would crash. Helldivers 2 suffered from surprising success. True. Absolutely. And you shouldn't react to problems by attacking what should be your customers and calling them entitled. Well, they are entitled. They're entitled to have the service that they paid $35 for, and they didn't have it because the game servers weren't working. Is this something that the Last Epoch developers could have anticipated? Sometimes, guys, unironically, shit happens. However, it's not, this is what I was saying before, right? And this is what people are confused about. Nobody gives a fuck about the shit that happens. People only care about the end product. So if the end product is a problem, then you have a problem. And nobody cares about why it happened, how it happened, or anything else in between. That's the real thing. I'll give you guys a link to the video. I hate the sentiment. You're entitled to your opinion. Yeah, I also hate the fact that you've copy-pasted that 10 fucking times. Anyway, the rough patch didn't deter me. I played it through to AM. I never had a single login problem ever. I had 10 minutes where I wasn't able to log in. Other than that, I played live the entire time, the entire day, permanently, and I had no issues whatsoever. These login problems didn't even affect me. The level of communication the developers have is mind-blowing. A team like this deserves our support as ARPG fans. Truly incredible. Yeah. And I really hope that people because I know there's really big PoE Andes. People love Path of Exile, but I really want you guys to hopefully understand that this game being good will indirectly make Path of Exile good. I think a lot of things that you can't tell me that the monolith system, the person who made the monolith system didn't play Synthesis League and PoE. Come on. Come on, man. We know really what's going on here. And that's good. That is such a good thing because now you're looking at games that are taking each other's best practices and then changing them and making them their own. That's what we should want to see, and that's what we should want to see improved in games. And I think that, forging potential is amazing. Yeah. The game will push Path of Exile forward. Yeah, it will. And I hope that Diablo 4 does it in some ways, right? I mean, I think that, again, competition does breed excellence. I am a massive believer of that. And I really think that's true in almost everything. I want to see these games be as good as they possibly can. They'll give me more time to play. I'm probably going to play. Am I going to play the next PoE League or not? I haven't decided. Yeah, I might. I think I'm going to try and play. I might do it. I might try to play I want to play a minion build next PoE League. And I'll probably play the first Last Epoch League as well. Will I play the next Diablo 4 League? I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe, like, if I wake up early, maybe I can log on and play it. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I could play the. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I really should play Diablo 2. Really, I mean, like, that's what I should do to celebrate. Dude, wouldn't that be fucking hilarious if I announce that I'm gonna play Diablo 2 on the day that Diablo 4 comes out, or the new season? That would be really fucking funny. Like, I wouldn't do that because I know some of you guys do want to keep up with the new Diablo 4 season, so I wouldn't make you be like, oh, well, I want to watch him, but, you know, like, now it's showing this other thing, and so I have to choose. I'd give it probably 2 or 3 days, but I know I really need to start playing that game, man. I really do. No one wants to keep up with Diablo 4. I do. It's great content. What do you mean? Give the video a like. This is a good one. I'm really glad to see Last Epoch doing well. I hope they keep working at it and they keep making the game better. This is, in my opinion, a great thing, and I really hope that they keep it up.